Hey everybody, this is Ryan Gunderson. Thanks for joining us today. We're out on the Duffy. It's a great day. We're doing this video because we've gotten a lot of questions about the island, real estate, inflation, all kinds of things about the market in general. So let's get started. It's a great question. Inflation and rising rates are something we are hearing about almost every day from clients, getting lots of questions. It's a market-wide problem. Fortunately, on the island, we've been blessed so far that it has been an issue that we've discussed, but not necessarily in principle. We're getting reports of price reductions in multiple other markets, both in the country and just in Orange County. But around the island, most of the buyers, even through the times when rates were very low, they have a lot of cash. They would get loans just because they could. Now they're just going back to cash. And with all the volatility we're still seeing in the stock market, they're still looking at houses on the island as a good investment. And so while it's a topic of discussion, it just hasn't really affected most of the products we've had. There have been price reductions on certain things, and we'll get to that in a minute, but in general, it's not because of inflation and rising rates. It's another great question. Over the last 6 to 8 months, it almost seemed as though anything would sell at any price it was listed at. Has there been a, quote, shift? I would say that there has been, but we have to be very careful that it's not overly generalized because it's a shift only on some things we have seen, not everything. An example would be we've seen almost zero shift on brand new homes, very little shift on teardowns. Some of the houses in the middle, kind of our tweeners as we affectionately call them, I would say there's been some shift on those. What does it mean for the market? I would say the shift on the island has definitely been less than what we're hearing about what's going on in other markets around the county. We have seen in some cases already though, just in the last month or two, it could be 10, 15%. What we've continued to tell our clients is that we still think the market fundamentally on the island is strong. We've just noticed that over the past 6 to 8 months, we somewhat had an artificial inflated blip, if you want to call it that, where these prices went up 30, 35%, really without much reason. And what is happening now is it seems like the market is starting to go back to where it was, but where it was a year ago was everyone was in a good mood, interest rates were low, everybody thought there would be multiple offers on everything. So it's all relative to where you are and where it was. And so for some things are just like they were a month or two ago. For others, while they are correcting and shifting, prices are still higher than they were a year ago, and that's why we still think it's a great time to sell if you're a seller, but it's also not a terrible time to buy if you're a buyer, given all the challenges going on in the economy in general. Over the next 6 to 8 months, this is an interesting one because while we think there could still be a little bit more of a shift, it's still relatively short term. And what we've seen over the past, say, 2 or 3 months is we're in a period right now where the buyers and sellers are still trying to figure each other out. There is this area, let's say 25, 30%, where things went up from where they were a year ago. There's no question, as we've talked about, that in some price points, that's starting to come down. But where is it? How far is it? What I would see in the next 6 to 8 months is more of the same. Because the inventory is so low, I don't think you're going to see a drastic change one way or the other. But there are going to be probably one-offs. There's going to be a seller here or there that needs to sell, and you might see something sell for less than you think. But then at the same time, we'll see homes that sell with multiple offers still. I mean, it was only 2 months ago where it seemed like multiple offers was one of the most common phrases you heard around here. Now, people are surprised when they hear it. So there's going to be some ebb and some flow, but we think if I had to guess 6 to 8 months from now, I would guess that it would be very similar to today, and I think people will start getting adjusted to more of the new normal of what the market is. Did you like, I almost did a little ebb and flow, like with the, I was like a little ebb and flow on cue with the wave. Our suggestion to island sellers would be think as though it was 6 to 8 months ago. Do what makes sense for you. I do genuinely believe there are other markets where you have to start thinking really proactively. It is happening. It's already happened. I have a friend who has a relative who's got a home for sale in Northern California, and we just talked to her yesterday about the interest rates are going up in this price point, what should I do? How do I get this moved faster? These are real conversations that people are having. So I don't want to be glib and think that this is not a serious issue. But again, on the island, there is protective mechanisms in place with all the conditions we've talked about that I think if you're a seller on the island, do what makes you feel comfortable. If you are thinking of selling, it's still a decent time. You're still going to do well. I believe that. I will say, if you're an islander who happens to be thinking about moving off island, then I would almost say it could be an opportunistic time. Why? Because I genuinely believe the island is going to correct less than some of these other markets. And an example would be Boise, Idaho. It's one of the most popular markets in the United States. I just had a client who lives up there tell me that they have seen more price reductions in Boise, Idaho in the last month than any zip code in the United States. So I think if you're an islander who's thinking of moving, and we've seen some people do that, it could be a great time to sell. Capture top dollar here and move there at a discount. But if you're thinking of moving inter-island or somewhere else in Newport, I would approach it just the same way as you normally would. Is it time for you and your family? Does it make sense for you? And then make the decision based on that, not reactive to what you think the market's doing. Thank you all for joining us today. This was a lot of fun. Again, these are just some of the questions that we've been getting asked. There have been so many more. There's a lot that a lot of people want to know about, and as it affects your homes, the values, these are big assets. They're all good questions to ask, and you can reach us anytime. Let us know. We'll leave our phone number and obviously our website. We're always available for you and any questions you have, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks.